Sirianni, and I think everybody to a man in that Eagles locker room, in the NovaCare complex entirely, is not talking about Super Bowl. We have an 11-1 team in Philadelphia, an 11-1 football team. We have an MVP candidate at quarterback. We got one of the top defenses, believe it or not, in all the NFL. That's pretty good. Turnover ratio has been great all year for the Eagles. They've had a couple of games here and there where it's been a little bit of concern, but for the most part, all season long, it's been pretty damn good. You know what we haven't talked about? The Super Bowl. At all. And I was having a conversation with a friend of mine. We were going back and forth, right? And that's how conversations go. But we were going back and forth on texting. And he was like, I don't really know how to feel about this Eagles team. And I was like, what? What do you mean you don't know how to feel about this Eagles team? And he's just like, I don't know. I don't trust him. I'm like, you don't trust him for what? And it's like, well, you got the Cowboys again. I'm like, don't even start with the Cowboys. Don't even start with the Cowboys. Eagles are a better football team than the Cowboys. We got into this yesterday with Mike Sealski about whether or not the Eagles could beat the Cowboys on Christmas Eve. Yes, the Eagles will. The Eagles can. I'm not going to say they will now. I'm going to wait till we get into that week to officially see what happens for me, my official prediction. But the Eagles can beat the Cowboys. The Eagles, I know, are a better football team than the Cowboys. They're a more all-around, more complete team than the Dallas Cowboys. And they got a better quarterback. Yeah, I said it. Deal with it. Jalen Hurts right now, I said, right now is a great quarterback. In this isolated season of all the quarterbacks, he is an elite quarterback. He is a great quarterback. Dak Prescott, and not so much. Here's what's going to happen. We're going to continue to go through this year. And I think it's not going to be real about the Eagles potentially making the Super Bowl until they get a first-round bye, if, in fact, they do lock up a first-round bye, which, in fact, I think they will lock up a first-round bye. Now, they can clinch the playoffs with a berth, clinch the playoff berth just by beating the Giants this weekend, which would be great, and it's going to happen. But after that, by the way, Jordan Renan of ESPN is going to join us. Giants beat writer is going to join us for tomorrow's show to talk all things Giants and see where the Eagles are catching them at this point in the season. But where I see this playing out, or how I see this playing out with the fans, is I think everyone knows how good this football team is, but it's still a matter of not believing it. Like, this is a Super Bowl contending team. Mike Golick was on with us last week, talked about that same thing. This is a Super Bowl contending team. Super Bowl contending team. And I still feel like there's a large portion of the fan base that's just like, easy on that Super Bowl conversation. But this team is that good. What do you do when you have a solid defense? What do you do when you don't turn the football over and you have an MVP caliber quarterback? What happens next? Oh, and a solid receiving core. And I talked about the defense as a whole, but the two best corners in football. And by the way, James Bradbury is also going to play against his former team in the New York Giants this weekend. So maybe a little chip on his shoulder there, just for extra added incentive. What do you do? Oh, and you're about to get Avonte Maddox back, most likely for this game. Then after that, you're going to get Dallas Goedert back. That'd be fun. I'm not afraid to talk about this team as a Super Bowl contending team. I feel like it doesn't get mentioned. 11-1. I felt like when the Eagles were 7-0 with Terrell Owens and Donovan McNabb, all of us, everyone ever was the Super Bowl. This is it. This is what they needed. This is what they've done. Now, granted, they had been to 3 previous NFC Championship games and lost. Well, they won again without T.O., and they won. Talking about the year he was hurt, and the year they ended up going to the Super Bowl anyway. And he came back for the Super Bowl. They made it through the playoffs and all that stuff. They made it to the Super Bowl and lost. And T.O., as we all know, was the best player on the field that day. I'm not afraid to talk about with this team because I think they are that good. But it's amazing to me that they could be this good, 11-1, and they could have this quarterback, and they could have this defense, and they could have these guys ripping the football off and having this great turnover ratio. It's incredible. I look at it and I go, if this was any other team in the NFL, I'd go, wow, they're the favorites to win the Super Bowl. But because we watch them every day, because it's our team, people think, oh, you're going to overhype because it's your team. Quite the opposite. We're more critical because we're watching every single play. I mean, can Jonathan Gannon really be a defensive coordinator, get a team in a Super Bowl? Well, yeah, he can, because this team's pretty damn good. And his players are pretty damn good. And the production they've had, the results they've had, pretty damn good. Why are we afraid to start talking about a Super Bowl?